All right, everyone, welcome back to Eddie and AJ. Now we are going to go over AJ's picks for the NFL this week.
Yeah, a little bit earlier in the show than normal, but
how'd you do this past week, though?
So this week, I believe it was week 10 of the NFL, so more than halfway through the season. 10-4 on the week, another double-digit win total. I'll take it. I like it. Keep improving that overall record. So, for my recaps, my correct picks: Seattle beat Arizona last Thursday night, 22-16. Steelers beat the Colts in what was a very close game, 20-17. I'm surprised at how close that game was. The Steelers, for a while, have looked like one of the predominant teams in the AFC, but they got the win, and that's all that matters. The Saints rolled over the Bills, 47-10, and that was in Buffalo. I thought the score would be a little bit closer, but now the Saints are looking very, very lethal out of that NFC South division. The Vikings beat the Redskins 38-30 in what was a shootout, and that game was in Washington, so it was a good road win for the Vikings, and they too are at the top of the NFC. The Jaguars beat the Chargers 20-17 in an overtime. Cool story here for the Jaguars. Their kicker, they picked up their kicker because he was cut by the Chargers. And this kicker tied the game at the end of regulation and then won it for them in overtime. So, good for that guy. I think his last name was Lambo. So, good job to him.
Yeah, really.
Sort of a revenge sort of game right there.
Take that.
Yeah. Detroit beat Cleveland 38-24. Cleveland was in this game for a really long time, but Detroit ended up finishing the job, and Cleveland is still winless. The Titans beat the Bengals 24-20, another very good, very close game. And the Titans are another one of those surprise teams, like the Jaguars, that they're actually tied for the top of that AFC South division, the Jaguars and the Titans. So it should be interesting to see how that race goes down the stretch. The Rams rolled over the Texans 33-7, and they too are at the top of their division out in the NFC West. New England again rolled over Denver 41-16. New England's looking very good. Classic sort of Patriots. That's how they've been for the past 15, 16 years. And Denver has not looked very good these past couple weeks. Carolina beat Miami 45-21, and Carolina too is up there with the Saints at the top of their division. So my surprises for the weeks: the Buccaneers beat the Jets 15-10. The Jets have been playing some decent football. They were in a lot of games, and this was the matchup between Josh McCown and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Two journeymen of quarterbacks. But the Buccaneers pulled out a slim win, 15-10, and the Jets sort of up and down season continues. Green Bay beat Chicago 23-16. I was a little bit surprised by this game. I like Trubisky for the Bears. He's been playing some good football, but Green Bay finally gets a win without Aaron Rodgers. The Falcons beat the Cowboys 27-7. Now, before this game, before I made this pick, obviously, I didn't know. The saga of Ezekiel Elliott was still going on. I thought that he was playing. He ended up not, and that really hurt the Cowboys' offense. They only put up one touchdown, and it was a rushing touchdown by Dak Prescott. So they lose 27-7. And the 49ers, the winless 49ers at the time, beat the New York Giants 31-21 in an absolute embarrassment of a game. If you're a Giant fan, it was a tough game to watch. I was able to watch the game. I wouldn't say I had the privilege of watching the game because it was absolutely horrible.
The ability to.
Yeah, exactly. I had the ability to watch the game, and it was really horrendous. The Giants, I think, really need to do some soul searching, and I think McAdoo, he's definitely gone. But it should, now I'm starting to think about Eli's place on this team going forward. It should be interesting to see. I'm a big Eli fan. The offense actually didn't play that bad. The defense has really almost been quitting in some of these games, which is tough to see just as a fan and as a competitor.
You don't like to watch it.
Exactly.
Change the channel as much as you want to support your team.
Exactly. So, and back to the offense really quickly. It's they've lost, two of their top receivers, Odell Beckham, Brandon Marshall, even Dwayne Harris. Like, those are, those were, two starters, and Dwayne Harris was their returnman. So, injuries have plagued the offense, but really just a lack of effort has kind of plagued the defense. But nevertheless, my overall record for the whole season, 92-58. It's about let me do quick math. That's about 34 games over 500. So I'll take it. That's 150 games in, by the way, in case you're keeping track. So that was week 10. Some good games, some blowouts, but yeah. Now on to my picks for week 11.
So, all right, Thursday, November 16th, tomorrow night at 8:25 p.m. We got the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So Thursday night football, it's always fun to watch. The players don't really like it, though, coming off short rest and stuff of that nature. But I'm going to pick the Steelers over the Titans. That game is in Pittsburgh. Tough place to go in and win. And I really... cold. The Titans are top, as I said before, tied at top of their division with the Jaguars. But I just think the Steelers' offense is a little bit better and too much to handle for this Titans defense.
All right, so Sunday, 1 p.m., Detroit at Chicago.
I'm going to beat Detroit in this game. It's a divisional matchup. I kind of like Detroit and Matthew Stafford being this, young Chicago Bears team.
All right, next we got the Jacksonville at Cleveland.
Again, this is a pretty simple pick, as it usually is with the Browns. I'm going to take the Jags, improving to 7-3, and with a loss by the Titans and a win by the Jags, you can see them sitting at 7-3, 10 games in and top of their division. So, Jaguars over the Browns.
All right, next we got Baltimore at Green Bay.
This is a toss-up sort of game. Baltimore's been one of those teams that has kind of been up and down really this whole year. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore and the experience of Joe Flacco over Green Bay. Really a toss-up sort of game, but I'm giving Baltimore a sled edge.
All right, next we got Tampa Bay at Miami.
Battle of two Florida teams. I think the Dolphins are just better. I think they're a better team. The Buccaneers, they had an abysmal win really against the Jets last week. I haven't heard whether Jameis Winston is playing again, but I just think the Dolphins are an overall better team.
All right, next we got LA at Minnesota.
This is a matchup of two first-place teams in their respective divisions, both sitting at 7-2. This is a very good game. I'm surprised it's the 1 o'clock game and not the 4 o'clock game, which is usually the game of the week. But because this game is in Minnesota, I'm going to go with the Vikings to beat really the red-hot Rams, but the Vikings are also hot as well. So being at home, I think that really helps the Vikings, and also their defense is really good.
All right, next we got the Redskins at the Saints.
Another good matchup. The Redskins have been pretty competitive in all of their games, but the Saints are looking like one of the best teams in football, so I'm going to go with the Saints over the Redskins, and again, that game is in New Orleans.
All right, next we got the Chiefs at our New York Giants.
Okay, well, it hasn't worked for 10 weeks, except for once, but I am actually throwing my opinions aside, and I'm going with the Chiefs to beat the Giants. The Giants have not shown me anything this whole season to give them any reason to think that they would win, and I have too much integrity in my overall record to pick the Giants. The Chiefs are one of the best teams in football, so I think that they will beat the Giants.
All right, and then our final 1 o'clock game, Arizona at Houston.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this game over the Texans. Again, without Deshaun Watson, it's not really that competitive of a Texans team. So yeah, the Cardinals.
All right, 4:05 p.m., we got the Bills going up against the Chargers.
Bills just named their backup quarterback is starting this week. Kind of a controversial move. Tyrod Taylor only really had one bad game in his last week, but they pulled the plug on him. But nevertheless, I'm still going to go with the Bills in that game. I just think they have a better defense, and I think that they'll stop the Chargers.
All right, 4:25 p.m., Cincinnati at Denver.
A matchup of 2, 3, and 6 teams, really a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Denver in this game.
All right, then we got New England at Oakland.
This game is actually in Mexico City. So kind of a neutral site game, technically a home game for the Raiders, but I'm going to go with the Pats just simply because they're the better team.
All right, and our final game for Sunday, 8:30 p.m., Philadelphia at Dallas.
Divisional matchup, Eagles-Cowboys, always a fun game to watch. This game is in Dallas, but I just read this afternoon, that Ezekiel Elliott is definitely serving his suspension. He won't be back until Christmas Eve when the Cowboys play the Seahawks. But I'm going to go with the Eagles. The Eagles have the best record in football. They have a really good offense, really good defense. I think they'll go on the road into Jerry's World. That's when they beat the Cowboys, their stadium there. And I think that they'll win. I think they'll win over the Cowboys.
All right, finally, last matchup of the week, Monday, November 20th. We got the Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks, 8:30 p.m.
This is a very good matchup. You have Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL and have been for the past couple of years. This game's in Seattle, and I think one factor that will affect this game is that Seattle played last Thursday, and this is a Monday night game, so they have a couple more days of rest. They had suffered a couple injuries in that Thursday night game, but I think just the combination of being at home and having this little bit of extra rest, I think Seattle will beat the Atlanta Falcons. So, folks, those are my picks for the week. In case for any of you those wondering, even though we have Thanksgiving next week, I will still be making my picks and keeping up with it, so so I'll have the whole season there. But those are my picks for the week. We'll be back right after this.